Air transportation plays a vital role in the global economy. This mode of transport provides the fastest and safest means of movement of goods and services across the world. For instance, in 2011, over 2.8 billion people traveled by air in more than 26 million flights worldwide. With a global turnover of $1 trillion, aviation is a major direct and indirect employer of labor worldwide. Nigeria, with good population and strategic geographical location, has huge potential to be the air transportation hub in West and Central Africa. The airports in Nigeria before the coming of the Jonathan administration were in a state that could neither sustain economic development or take advantage of the market potentials within Nigeria and the West African sub-region. Hence, the Ministry of Aviation at the inception of the administration evolved a master plan to reposition the air transport industry.
This government started with transformation. Transformation was the essence of this administration. The transformation was the driving force. Transformation was why I wanted to work with this government to ensure and assure that we really embark on total transformation. Coming to aviation and going round the establishment, the infrastructure, I was upset. I was angry. As a Nigerian, I thought then in my tears that we do not deserve what we have. We shouldn't have what we have. So it's in line with that Mr. President's instruction is rehabilitate all our airports, give Nigerians what they really deserve to have. And we deserve to have the best, and that's what we are giving Nigerians.
As for the past 20 to 35 years, what used to be called airports in Nigeria are, ordinarily speaking, things that can be considered a habitat for lower animals. Today, the Ministry of Aviation, through its agency, FAN, has convinced us that the transformation agenda of Goodluck Jonathan is working.
Prior to the inception of the Jonathan administration, there was infrastructural decay that adversely affected passenger traffic, security, and comfort in all airports in Nigeria.
The administration of President Goodluck Jonathan obviously has made a lot of improvements in the aviation sector. You can see it physically, you don't have to be told. Go to the airports and see the changes that are taking place. New buildings are coming up for terminals, runways are being resurfaced, additional equipment for safety and security are being installed, and human capital is being developed very seriously. Policies that are of global standard and best practices are being implemented in Nigeria today. So overall, I think it is a win-win situation, not only for the operators but also for the users of the aviation industry, and it's a very welcome development.
The federal government is trying. They have done something so good. I'm very happy today to see my airport. So beautiful, handsome. I don't know. Actually, I've never seen this thing in my life since I was born. I've never seen our airport like this. But Jonathan, I thank you for that.
Honestly, it is unprecedented, highly unprecedented. I came in here, what I'm saying is architectural masterpiece. I want to appreciate the effort of the MD for initiating it. I want to appreciate the MD or the effort of the minister for actually making the move, at least to make sure that aviation is moved to the next level. And hopefully too, I want to appreciate the effort of the President, President Goodluck Jonathan, for actually keying into the aviation transformation process.
The change is so massive and sudden that we started wondering whether money came from a place not known by anybody. It's unbelievable. And it's an indication of where somebody who is serious, making use of the money that is allocated to her ministry religiously.
Normally, I do not like to travel through this terminal because it's it used to be a very rowdy and very unimpressive atmosphere, very uncomfortable. If you remember, it was a small building that when you walked in before, you could smell the toilets. And I'm really surprised and very happily part of enjoying this experience of traveling through this terminal today. There's been so much improvement that I did not recognize the area.
On the aspect of safety, the aviation authorities commenced the total transformation of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency to ensure that its weather forecasts and services meet world-class standards and certification.
In aviation, really, when you talk of safety it's not a destination. It's a continuous process. Everything you do in aviation is safety. So safety is priority. And we know that every airport has to work in a professional manner. And so ours is to make sure that all our practice is globalized.
What we are doing is in line with WMO standard and then in keeping, in compliance with ICAO Annex 3 requirements, that these instruments must be calibrated from time to time. And what the calibration does is that it guarantees accuracy, it guarantees reproducibility, it guarantees reliability of whatever data we are generating. So for us, it's a big milestone. All these are in the spirit of the transformational agenda that we are pursuing.
And as I usually say to people, without safety, there's no aviation, because the act of flying is against the norm of life, where heavier stuffs are suspended in the air, carried by lighter medium. It's just the principles of physics, what we call principles of Archimedes. And if you look at it critically, it means there are core aspects you must look at handling flights, because it's an anomaly for planes and people inside the plane suspended in a lighter medium called air. Going to that, all we do, all we are doing, all we will do, all we should do is anchored on safety.
2 Doppler weather radars have been completed at Abuja and Port Harcourt, while installation is ongoing in Maiduguri, Yola, Kano, and Lagos.
In weather risk management, we talk about mitigation, we talk about adaptation. So all these are steps that need to be taken. But the first step is the information. Today, we can boast of a whole lot of state-of-the-art equipment. We now have our Doppler weather radar. That one is no longer news. What is news now is that work is ongoing in the Doppler weather radar in Yola and Maiduguri.
NIMET has been able to, for the first time, come up with equipment. Under the present administration, they have been given due attention. Anything they request for, they get. That's how come they were able to predict the flooding that happened recently.
Presently, there are 9 low-level wind shear alert systems installed in Abuja, Kano, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Benin, Owerri, Enugu, Yola, and Sokoto.
That before this administration came on board, there was only one station that had low-level wind shear alert system, and that is Abuja. Today, we have wind shear alert systems in Ikeja Airport, Port Harcourt Airport, Kano Airport, that is added to Abuja, and work is ongoing. Benin Airport is almost completed, and Sokoto, work is ongoing. Owerri, work is ongoing. Enugu Airport, work is ongoing. And we have plans to continue to populate our airports with low-level wind shear alert system.
In terms of facility, I must confess, we have standard facility here. We have the wind shear that will tell you, they give you a warning that there is a wind shear in either this runway or this other runway. It guarantees safety. It makes you not to know the runway to give you aeroplane. We have the wind direction and speed indicator, because aircraft lands against the wind. You don't land in favor of the wind. The incoming wind is what helps the aircraft to land.
This is to assist pilots during critical times of takeoff and landing. In addition, 7 upper air stations have been constructed and equipment procured and installed at Lagos, Kano, Enugu, Jos and Maiduguri, with 2 remaining locations, Yola and Calabar, ongoing.
I can tell you that today we have 5 upper air stations that are functioning. Upper air station observes weather condition at different flight levels. We have our observatories. This is called surface observation. It tells you the weather condition on the surface.
We're installing world-class security equipment all over the nation. In the next 6 months, you'll start seeing changes all over. This government is not looking back when it comes to expenditure concerning security, concerning safety of their citizens. No, we're not holding anything back. We just make sure that we install all this equipment all over. Now they have upper air stations that give us adequate weather information.
There is presently integrated aviation weather observing and display system installed in 14 airports across the country.
It is no longer news that all our stations, weather stations, have full complement of weather observation instruments. What is news is that we are looking at ways to expand.
One of the attractions we could see basically is that everybody wants to fly to Abuja, Emirates, Ethiopian Airlines, Egypt Airways, Lufthansa, Air France. If this airspace is not safe, it is obvious they will not be interested. If you cross-check, the insurance level of airlines in Nigeria is going down because the safety net is increasing. Enter our aeroplanes in this airspace, close your eyes, and all you hear is, "We've landed."
Retim Synergy satellite image receivers to receive real-time weather images have been upgraded in 4 international airports to 5G. Also, air quality and ozone monitoring stations have been installed in Abuja, Enugu, Lagos, Kano and Maiduguri to report air quality and level of pollution.
Before we get weather report and we pass to pilots, today the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and NAMA have equipment on the field that receive this weather report and electronically transmits it to the tower into digital form that a pilot will tune 1285 of megahertz frequency in his cockpit and receives it. We call it ATIS, Automated Terminal Information Service. The man will receive the pressure, the temperature, whatever he needs. If there's rain, he will know. That's modern time technology. Before, we will receive it and we will relay it to the pilot. Instead of saying a cloud base is 300 or the rain is there, it's human factor. He can miss a digit, but today it's not possible.
If you go to our forecast office here or in Lagos or elsewhere, the console for the low-level wind shear alert system is echoed on the air traffic controller's desk. So what the meteorologist and the forecaster in NIMET forecast office is seeing, the air traffic controller is seeing the same thing at the same time.
Thunderstorm lightning detectors are installed in 22 Nigerian airports, including 1 non-airport location in Lokoja, to safeguard the hazards of lightnings.
Lightning and wind shear and thunderstorm, we always get prior information, and it will be displayed for the traffic controller to tell you, fly left, descend 50 feet, turn right again, maintain. The man will just turn, bend, and he'll be looking at the weather on his far right, and he will come in and land. That's why sometimes it rained in Nyanya, but there was no rain in Wuse or Gariki. But we will tell pilots that there's rain in Nyanya. So the man will avoid going through there.
I was on BA flight sometime about a year ago, and when we are crossing the Sahara Desert, we ran into turbulence. Before we got into the turbulence, the captain announced that we are going into an area of turbulence, but not to worry. We had prior information about this from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. I can tell you, I was very proud.
State-of-the-art equipment are installed across major airports for the real-time detection of hazardous weather. In addition to the equipment, an instrument calibration laboratory is in place to ensure standardization of various field equipment at least once in a year.
The Honorable Minister has supported us to obtain funding to set up an instrument calibration workshop, which we are very proud of. We have now commenced the process of calibrating all our weather instruments in Nigerian airports. So when we tell the pilot what the wind speed is, what the temperature is, what the pressure is, we are sure what we are telling is very accurate.
Why do we have to calibrate these equipment? When they tell me, Nama, tell the pilots that the rain is going to fall in 15 minutes. It has to be 15 minutes. There's a tolerance percentage, plus or minus whatever. That's why the laboratory is of interest to me. So gone are the days when they say, mate, announce something. It didn't happen. Thank God the flood this year, last year taught us a big lesson. So with the upcoming seasonal rainfall prediction, I know there'll be no space in the hall for this year. Like we recorded, only 1 or 2 governors believed the Nigerian meteorological system.
Other projects being implemented by NIMET are procurement and installation of Aeromet systems and SADIS weather briefing system, the construction of NIMET zonal offices, the establishment of severe weather monitoring center in Otuoke in Bayelsa State, and the establishment of an FM radio station to broadcast weather, amongst others.
We receive weather information measured all over the country. We have about 54 stations located across Nigeria, and they take weather elements starting from temperature, pressure, wind speed and direction every hour, and at the airports they take it every 30 minutes. And this weather information, they are transmitted to this office. Apart from the local weather information that we receive, we equally have equipment to receive weather information from other parts of the world.
The efficiency that has characterized weather forecast has made NIMET the first meteorological agency in any West African country to receive ISO certification. Unprecedented in the history of meteorological services in Nigeria.
The operations we give here in NIMET are in conformity with those international standards. There is no Nigerian meteorology in terms of standard. We operate to the highest known international standard. Nigeria is a member state of the World Meteorological Organization. Nigeria is also a member state of ICAO. For the World Meteorological Organization, there are 188 member states. Nigeria is one of them. Out of the 188 member states, there are 37 members of the Executive Council. I am an elected member of the Executive Council of WMO. You can see that we represent the best that there can be anywhere in the world, and we are proud of it.
There's always need to resurvey, to recalibrate, and that we've done with modern technology, making our airspace seamless for an operation of what we call performance-based air navigation system, so that pilots can fly with correct and precise trajectories, and foreign airlines scrambling to come to Nigeria, not just because we are a preferred economic and commercial destination, because also we are safe. Before now, we're not flying to America direct because they didn't consider our counterpart safety and security performance matches theirs. Today, they've designated our Nigerian civil aviation as Category 1.
Procurement of airfield lighting systems, total radar coverage of Nigerian airspace, and the ongoing automation of aeronautical information service is bringing the Nigerian airspace at par with ICAO standards and recommended practices.
Airfield lighting is critical. Why? Because if I'm moving from point A to B, perhaps from Abuja to Lagos, and because it's a machine, anything man-made can fail. I have an emergency and I need to land in Minna. It won't be that the airfield lighting is not working. All airports, by the grace of God, before the turn of the year, we had airfield lighting. So that in case of emergency, even if they are not operational, it's on standby, you can call and they turn it on for you to land. Airfield lighting is all that the pilot must have to fly at night. And so all our airports above the 6 international airports will have airfield lighting.
The total radar coverage of Nigeria TRACON has effectively commenced and has enhanced communication between pilots and air traffic controllers.
We are working with modern technologies, deploying, like you must have heard, state-of-the-art total surveillance equipment of the Nigerian airspace, which we call the TRACON, which is radar. Radar is radio detection and ranging. It gives visual management of air traffic in the air, unlike the old method of procedure where air traffic controllers imaginative and mathematically manage the airspace. Now they see it video. It's like comparing radio with television.
Over the years, we've embarked on several safety critical projects that has defined the new face of Nigerian airspace. Some of these projects are the total radar coverage of Nigeria, the Safe Tower, WGS 84, which is going to transit also performance-based navigation, AIS automation project, rehabilitation of several control towers.
Now we have radar that is up to date. It's one of the best with the whole airspace covered from north to south. You can see any aircraft as far as above 2,000 feet above sea level. You can see them flying. You can see the altitude they are maintaining. You will see the speed. And so you can approximately tell at any time T where any aircraft is. It wasn't so before. I'm an air traffic controller. What we had before was more or less procedural control, mental picture.
Nigeria has now achieved total VHF radio coverage for her airspace.
20 years ago, there were like 20 aeroplanes flying, say, for example, the Kano flight information sector of the Nigerian flight information region. Today, you have 200 aeroplanes flying. So we needed to deploy modern technologies to improve VHF, very high frequency radio communication in the entire airspace. And that has just been concluded.
Aviation is a huge investment. It requires a lot of money to get where we are. For Nigeria, the government has actually invested so much in every aspect of ATM to ensure safety. Starting with WGS 80 for TRACON services, which is second to none in Africa.
The transformation is working. Look at the airports.